10 and a 3-year-old. So we're pretty busy. And I got into real estate like almost just 2 years ago. I just renewed this December. And I got into real estate because I grew up in the construction industry from a young age, roofing houses, putting drywall up, like just doing it all. And so I've always been involved in this industry. And then after college, I was a sales rep for a commercial furniture and textiles company. So I traveled around the Midwest. I worked with architect firms, designers, did lunch and learns, and helped them design the interiors of the commercial office buildings that you see. And then once we found out we were pregnant with our second baby, I was gone all the time, and we were actually paying my brother full time to nanny for us. And so we're like, well, that's kind of messed up. So I decided to leave my job to be a stay-at-home mom. And I did that for 7 years and was ready to come back into the workforce. And to be quite honest, I did interview after interview and nobody would hire me because I'd been out of my industry for so long, and it's really hard to break back into that industry. And so finally, one day I just came home and I'm like, screw it. I'm going to get my real estate license. I've always wanted to do it. I'm going to start my own business. And then, so we created that idea and the path and how we were going to do it. And then of course you make a plan and God laughs. And we found out, surprise of a lifetime, 10-year age gap, I'm pregnant again. And so that's why we have such a massive age gap, by the way. So then I still continued to get my real estate license. And then I took about a 4-week maternity leave after I had my little guy and activated my license here and been here ever since.
Nice. No, hold on to that. We'll just work our way from here to here.
Okay.
And the reason, so everybody in the room knows, we have these 4 up here. If you've noticed, they haven't been in the business a terribly long time, each and every single one of them, but they've all done really, really well. And I would say even uncommonly well for the amount of time that you've been in business, at least my experience, So on that note, what do you think your biggest lead generation activity is? What do you think you do best that has the highest ROI?
I would say I fix it.
So you're a note taker. That's one of the.
I'm a huge note taker. I always have a notebook. I write everything down. And I was a little nervous to do this. I just didn't want to forget anything. So I wrote some bullet points. So I would say for my lead sources, I started last year doing a newsletter. I've gotten a huge response on my monthly newsletters that I send out. I get a lot of people that respond back to those, and I create that dialogue with them. And I think something different that I do in my newsletters is they're truly me writing them. It's genuine. It's from the heart. I write about my family, what we're doing. I try to inspire people with my design background, and give them, like a little design tip for the month. And I give them real estate updates, the stuff that you need to put in there. And then the biggest thing that I do too, that I feel like I get a lot of responses on, is I always try to do some daily or monthly inspirational. I pull a Bible verse that's really been, important to me at that time in my life, or something that's helped me. And I always put that in there. And to be quite honest, the biggest response that I get is people responding about that and how cool it is that I'm not scared to put that in there. And how, it really touched them, or they were having a hard day or something like that. So that's something that I just did, and it's just me being genuine. And so I think people can kind of realize that in my newsletters. And then another lead source that was huge for me when I first started, because I've lived, in Iowa, in this area, my whole life, but I don't have like a massive supportive family like a lot of people do. I know, like last night, Dan said his mom's huge and helps him and stuff. I don't have that family support. So I don't have like a massive sphere to get leads and stuff from to work. So my biggest thing when I started was social media. My first listing was off of Facebook. I just posted on there, like, does anyone want to know comps on their house or what their house is worth? And I continue to get leads that way and sales through social media and connecting with people that way. And then the other thing would be my postcards that I have the marketing team do for me. They're awesome. And obviously I don't have a huge budget. I'm not making a ton of money yet. Not where I want to be. And so I can't afford to do those every single month. And so that was one thing when I sat down with Shane, with, I said, I really want to do these mailers. You know, I know these are really important to farm the Van Meter area. But I can't afford them every month because every month I send them out, it's $955 for the farming area that I'm sending them to. And so one of the things that he said is you don't have to send them every single month, you know, pick a couple that are really important to you or once a quarter. And so that's really what I did. And every month when they send me the proofs, I'll say yes or no, or these are the months I want to do. And so I've really gotten known around my community, and that's actually, I got a development that way. So because I send those mailers out and I do my newsletter, and I also sponsor a lot of school events. And so whenever the Athletic Boosters reaches out to me, or any sort of committee around Van Meter or the school, I always jump on that because it's a lot of advertising with a lot of eyes for a very minimal cost. It's usually $200 or $300 that they want for me. And, you know, it's advertising for the entire year for the athletics department, every single person that comes through Van Meter. So with all of those things combined, one of the developments I have in Van Meter, Trindle Ridge, I actually got that through all of those things. So there's a developer, John Seek, that's out of Van Meter. He called me one day and said, I see your mailers. I see that you're sponsoring all these school things. I see you around. I've talked to you. I've talked to other people. And he said, Kimberly's going to buy some lots out here and I want you to rep them. And he said, I've already called Jenna Kimberly. I told her that you're the one I want on here, based on all these things and because you know this community so well. So that was just a huge reinforcement to me that the mailers are working. It's worth spending the money. My newsletters are working. And so that was just one of the big things that I do.
Nice, thank you.
Do you want me to answer the same thing?
Yes,
Okay. I would say that for sale by owners was like my go-to when I first started. So I am not from Cedar Rapids. I don't really know that many people from Cedar Rapids. My husband lives in Center Point, which is like 10 minutes north, but that was like the scariest thing getting real estate. I'm like, okay, so I'm not making any money right now. Like, what am I going to do that I'm going to be able to get leads? So I was a marketing coordinator. So social media is also really big. But for sale by owners, I think, so I started September 1st or August 21st. By September 1st, I had 4 listings and they were all for sale by owners. In just 2021. So the 4 months I was in it. And I guess to date, I probably have listed 45 for sale by owners. So you just have to like be consistent on for sale by owners, reach out to them. I just got one $500,000 one on Monday because I knew that I showed it like 6 months ago and it was still for sale, and they moved to Florida and they're like, yep, you're like the only realtor we met. You've been great. You've been like staying up on top of us. So listed that on Monday. And yeah, so I would say for sale by owners, especially if you're like new to the area, go on Zillow, go to other listings and just start texting them. Hey, is your home still for sale? Are you working with a realtor? It might have a interested buyer. Get in front of them. Don't ask them over the phone. Get in front of them and get to know them, talk to them. And yeah, that was very successful for me. So highly recommend.
follow-up questions on that real quick though,
Yeah.
before you hand it to Andy. Out of the 45 you listed, were you able to get most of them sold?
Yeah, all of them were
All
sold.
of them?
Yeah.
I think it's remarkable because she's doing it in a market where for sale by owners have been more successful than they have in other markets. So if they weren't successful for sale by owner in a time where houses were flying off the market, usually there was probably a reason why,
Yeah.
whether it was price or wasn't staged right, or there was something looming over the home or something.
Yeah. So
Was there a lot of those things to address and trying to get the price right? And now
yeah.
they're paying an agent where they weren't. How are those hurdles navigated?
Yeah. So I guess for sale by owner, because I don't know if Des Moines has like FSBO. Do you guys have like the FSBO company? Okay. So Cedar Rapids has that, and they have like the professional pictures or whatever. Some for sale by owners I have do not have professional pictures. But I show them on Zillow. I'm like, hey, do you know, like if I'm looking on Zillow, you have to go to other listings, and some of them don't even know that. And I was like, look, like give me 6 months to sell your home. This is all what I'm going to do. I line out everything I'm going to do for them. I'm like, my background's marketing. I have over 1,400 followers on like Instagram. I just sold a house through TikTok, and that was a for sale by owner. I'm like, just give me the chance. Let me do it. And, I mean, that's what's been successful. So like I did drone photos of the acreage I just listed. So she had it listed for 6 months. I got drone photos of it. I just did professional photos. She had 3 people come in the last 6 months. I had so I listed it last Monday. Yeah. What's today? Thursday? I don't even know what today is. Sorry. Still Vegas since R4 was a lot. So I had an open house Sunday. I had 42 people through that open house.
Come on.
It was insane. Plus, I love it. And then 8 showings, and my seller's just like, oh my gosh, like what the heck? Like this is phenomenal. She got mad at me because I had so many people there parking in her yard. So I had to go out there and put like yellow caution tape everywhere on Monday because she's like, what the? I'm like, there was 20 cars here. I'm like, what am I supposed to tell them to do? Also open houses too. That was big too. Like I just picked up 7 new buyers. I actually have a listing appointment at 4 o'clock today for a person I just met at that open house. So I also, recommend open houses and for sale by owners though. Seriously, just be yourself. Like a lot of people, a lot of my clients, if you go look at my reviews, they just say I'm like down to earth and like I show up in leggings and a sweatshirt a lot with my hair up in a bun. Like I just try to be myself and maybe don't like dress like that all the time, but
Something to the first hour thing.
Yeah,
A lot of the times people are just loss averse. They're focused on paying the commission instead of what they can gain when they actually team up with a professional. And at least in my market, FSBOs are the top tier competitor in our area. It's real FSBOs. So it's important to not only reflect your value, but show it in numbers. I know with my team, we do really, really heavy, like a high budget when it comes to marketing. And for sale by owners are only capturing a very small percentage of the buyers out there. So that's something that I've been able to find successful. Just talking them through it, talking through the numbers and trying to prevent them from being so much loss averse and letting somebody actually take care of it. But with regards to main lead generation, I mean, I'm not really for my market. So joining a team I knew was kind of the way to go in order to really start building that book of business. And it really helped because now I'm to the point where it's a revolving door and I'm getting sellers that I helped buy, helping them buy another house, selling their house. So biggest thing is just showing up. I mean, I go to all my client events. I get invited to baptisms. I get invited to weddings. I get invited to everything, even a Buddhist temple. One time there was like a ceremony between like the rite of passage for their teenager, and I show up. I enjoy really connecting with clients to that extent. And when you show up and they can kind of see that passion of yours, it helps have the conversation of what you do. And so that's probably the biggest thing that's helped me now create a sustainable business for myself, where the team has put me in the position to get into these events, and then I do my networking. So
nice.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So it's for you and right here, Lindsay.
Yeah.
So you said you show up, and that's like the type of person I am. I love to show up, right? I'm like a big light, but I have kids, so I can't always be there. Like, how do I counteract that so that I'm still present, but like I might not be able to be here? Like, how do I make that work? How do I juggle that?
engagement.
I don't know about relationships, but
I would say that's something that I've struggled with a lot with 3 kids. I mean, they're all so different stages of life. We have stuff going on every single night. Like last night we had dinner with Lance and do, and I got there and I sat down with Lance and I was like, oh, okay, we got all the kids dropped off where they need to be. I got this one here. And then I'm like, my husband's doing pickup, so we're good. Where's the line? Type of thing. But so yeah, that's something that I've really struggled with because I can't do all the night events like, Andy was mentioning. I just can't. I'm always with my kids. I feel like I don't even get enough time with them anyways. So I try to do a lot of my stuff in the mornings, like coffee, afternoon appointments. I text back and forth with them a lot. They know I'm always available for text, phone calls, anything. I just can't meet all the time. Saturday mornings I do a lot too. So I try to be involved as much as I can, get to know their family, know like when they have stuff going on, so I can send them a text like, oh, congratulations on this, or oh, it's first day of school, or just something to connect with them on. So that's how I try to connect with my clients on that level. And most of them have kids too, and they understand like they don't have time to do anything either. Like we have no life. So they understand that too. But I do a lot of open houses too. That was one thing I was going to say with Alexis is I've done an open house pretty much every Sunday since I started a couple years ago. And I picked up three sellers from the same open house last year, or 3 buyers, excuse me, from the same open house last year. And it's the same thing that Alexis said, just connecting with people, being yourself, like just be genuine and you'll find people that you connect with. But yeah, open houses have been huge for me.
Lindsay, talk about the trade-off that we talked about last night, that you do take Sunday away from your kids.
Yeah. So what I was saying last night is sometimes it's really hard to work every single Sunday. And that's the only day my entire family's home and we don't have sports and we're all under the same roof at the same time. And so every single Sunday, we go to church and then we come home and we have like an hour and I'm like, okay, bye, mom's going to work. I'll be back at dinner time, type of thing. And so for a while it was really hard and it was really draining on me because I had so much mom guilt. But then once I flipped like my perspective and the way I was viewing everything, it's like, well, you know what? My kids get out of school every Friday at 1:30 and I'm home. I don't schedule anything on Fridays. I'm there every Friday. We get to hang out. We get to do stuff. And my husband's the same way. We always try to keep those days open. And if they don't have school or they don't have something, I can flex my schedule to be there. So it's just switching that perspective and changing your mindset so that you don't have all the guilt of, missing things and not being there sometimes.
I'm trying to remember our conversation about, don't you think one of your sons that open houses with
Oh,
you?
yeah. So that's a big thing too. That's another way I've spent a lot of time. My oldest, he's almost 13. I take him with me every single Sunday. At first he bitched and moaned. He did not want to go. And then I was like, well, I'll pay you $25. And he's like, huh, okay. And then he started coming, and I make him do stuff. I don't just let him lay around on his phone. But I make him pick up trash around my job sites. He helps me put up open signs, the flags and stuff like that. But then like when there's nobody in there, we just sit and talk. Like it's really nice. We just talk, how's your day? And so that's been something that's really special for us that we do on Sundays. And now it's to the point where he's like, Mom, do we have an open house today? And then when we're there, he's asking questions. The last one we did, he was asking me questions about finishes and how long do you think this one's going to be on the market for and stuff like that. And so that's really special to me. And I feel like he's learning, something.
He's learning.
too.
He's like, no, this wall can come out.
Yeah.
It's gonna put a 6-inch beam in there. We're good. We're good. It can come out 12 feet, I hear.
So I actually have only done probably 2 open houses since I started, and that was based off seller requests. I dedicate my weekends for appointments only, and I personally haven't gotten so much value out of open houses as if I did a video of a virtual walkthrough and then posted it. And you mentioned your life, right? And sometimes you just can't show up. Well, you can still make a video about that event and play an impression for them. So just try to engage in ways that even though you're not present, you still show consideration to your client that, hey, congratulations on getting married. Like me and my kids want to just say we're celebrating you, or there's ways that you can interact with them still at a high level. So just try to get creative with it.
Thank you.
Good advice.
I don't want to be a dead horse, but as a former youth pastor, my trick was always, you don't have to be at the full event for everything. So if it's an intermission, go at the intermission, say hi, go to the beginning of the event, say hi, leave, go to the end. They knew that you were there, and that's the only important part. They don't need to know that you were there for 2 hours. Trick. Gotcha. Yeah. If you were there for 2 minutes, they think you were there for 2 hours.
You just drove by and waved.
Is this the lead generation question, or Matt, or are we on to something?
Oh, no. I think it was still your turn to talk about your biggest lead
Yeah.
generation.
So a large portion of mine really is just referral. Like my sphere of influence being from Indianola has played to my advantage a lot. I guess just like at least my best connections are people that I already know. So I would say my lead gen's been from that. I don't know. I feel like a lot of luck has gone my way. And I feel like a lot of times people are like, no, it's because I did this. And it's like, well, maybe, I guess, I don't know. It's just kind of my perception of real estate. I'm still realizing like how much is it because I'm pouring work into it and how much of it is like, well, you got a good hand like this month or this lead or whatever. So I just want to be realistic about that for myself. I don't want to like be overly I don't know. Like, I just want to be realistic. It's just kind of like my personality. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I try to be down to earth and realistic about things. So, I do pay for some online leads, and that's probably about 35% of my business. And so I'm continuing to do that, but I'm still trying to like figure it out. I guess I don't know. I feel like every year, this is my third year, I guess, but everyone says like you start at zero again, and it's just like. No one cares about last year and last year in anyway. So I just kind of freak out all the time and drink a lot of coffee. But I think a lot of my lead gen, honestly, like coming from Indianola, like I didn't do anything like royally stupid. Smoked some Swisher Sweets in 9th grade, which led to a cigar addiction now, which is fine. But that was about the dumbest thing I did in high school, I guess. So I guess I was joking. But it's just like my friendships and relationships there are like pretty like rich, and my parents live there, and I don't know, I'm kind of like in my head about that because I'm like, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm not going to try to yeah, that's an advantage I guess that I have because like our relationships that we have often lead to I don't know, the best leads. They trust you, they're with you, so it's just it's something that I'm really lucky to have, is just being from the area. So
Nice. Now, when you talk about working your sphere, how does that look for you? Like as far as, is it a monthly thing? Is it just when you feel like it? Is there some rhyme and reason to it?
God, there's a bit more rhyme and reason than there used to be, I guess, because I'm realizing that like just remembering to do things is a short term, and it's gotten me by, I suppose. But I don't feel like I do anything that complicated. I was just thinking about this as we're like talking to all you. I don't think any of us are going to say anything up here that you're like, oh my gosh, that's a bit like, it's just real estate. I'm realizing that it's really just a matter of doing the things that we all know we should do. And the people who succeed are the ones who are doing the things that everyone knows they should do anyway, for the most part. Or they double down on something. Open houses. I don't like to do open houses, and I love real estate because I don't have to do them if I don't want to. And I can do something else if I, it's kind of the nature of it. So, but for me, a lot of it is on Facebook. I've like coined it in my mind, like subliminal marketing. I don't like to post a ton of stuff about like real estate. But what I do instead is, Jason went to Mexico. I would look on his Facebook page and send him a message and say, looks like Mexico was awesome. Like my family went there a couple years ago too. What'd you do? Everyone loves talking about themselves. So what I do is I like go on people's page and look at something recent that they did, say it sounded awesome, even if it wasn't looking like it was awesome, because they think it was. And it just,
So I got a root canal. Looks awesome.
I don't like people just like, yeah, give someone a mic and they'll talk. Like just give someone like a question and just let them go and listen and be engaged. And sometimes you're really engaged. Sometimes, again, back to being a pastor, I'm pretty good at being like, wow, that's great. Sitting in a lot, like, so I'm pretty good at that, even though I'm like, wow. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it.
It's like, are you still going on cold leads and stuff as part of a team with some of the leads that come in
All the time.
all the time?
Yeah.
What are you doing to convert them at a high? What's some of your techniques, or is it?
Well, the first thing is I obviously try to capture the pain points. But one of the biggest things that I do mentally within myself is I tell myself that if they don't work with you, that's an injustice for them. Because I truly do believe that I will be the best representation and I will do the best job. So it's just kind of like psyching yourself. Hello? Okay. So it's just kind of like psyching yourself into that mentality that's helped me win a lot of clients. Also, I'm human. I mean, like he said, I practice empathy pretty greatly, listening, just knowing what are their pain points and then ending it, attacking those pain points.
So let me ask you this, so kind of walk me through cold leads coming in. How does it come in? Is it an email? Is it phone? Is it text? How does that come in?
It could
All
be
the above.
It could be a messenger message
Okay.
at 12:30 at night. Another thing that I do right off the bat is especially starting off, I respond freaky fast. Like that's the one thing I've realized like could differentiate me response rate. I mean, I'll respond within a minute. So even if I get that message at 12:30, I will respond if my phone is near me. Like I'd rather do it right there and then than add it to my list tomorrow. So that's something else that's really got me to stand out and has helped just keep clients.
Nice.
So yeah.
When you're meeting somebody cold though, you haven't met them, they don't know you, I'm taking some kind of quick conversation to get the meeting in the first place.
Mhm.
Is that what your primary focus is when you're taking the original call or the original text, is to establish a face-to-face?
Absolutely.
What techniques are you using to get that appointment?
I do pre-listing videos, just kind of showing face and say, hey, I really appreciate the opportunity to come by and check you out. This is what you can expect. Attached with this is my resume, along with reviews, along with a copy of our marketing plan. And there's very, very few people that would do that. So just standing out even before I get through the door, not only my response rates, but with that video and then actually walking through and knowing my stuff, has just helped me really kind of capture those cold leads. And like I said, my goal is I want to be invited to your wedding. I want to be invited to your divorce party. I want to be invited to everything. You know what I mean? Like I want to create that relationship because I know that's how I'm going to build my sustainable business.
I like it. All right. Coming back to your for sale by owners, are you doing this tactically where like, hey, I'm going to call 5 people a week, or is this just whenever you feel like it, or you feel like you need to kick in some business and all that stuff?
So when I first started, I was doing them like every Monday morning or every like Wednesday afternoon, pretty much when I had downtime, I would just do it. But now I've been able to grow. So I get on them sometimes, or I'm like, oh, I haven't had a lead this week, or I haven't had a buyer, I haven't had a seller. My goal is to get 1 for sale by owner this week. And like, that's what last week I was like, came back from Vegas and I was like, I'm just going to try to get 1 for sale by owner this week. So texted them up and that's what I did. But yeah, I don't do it.
I want to go back to that real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, but
No,
the
you're fine.
text up, because a lot of people would call.
Yeah.
But your initial reach out is by text.
Yes. So, and then I also have, actually a realtor in Cedar Rapids told me about this. So in my favorites in my camera, I have like my business card. So it has like a picture of me and my information, my logo and whatnot. So every time I text it for sale by owner, I add that too. So they like can see me and go look on me on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. And just like have a face to who's talking to. Oh, yeah, question.
Did I hear you correctly? You said you've got 45 FSBO listings
Yes.
in like the last few years.
Since August. Yeah. Since September 1st. So yeah, I've done like, I was buyers and now I'm just like listing wise. I have a lot of listings. So like I have 8 right now and like 4 of them are for sale.
Show us all how you do that.
What?
You'll put out like a video and show.
Yeah. If you guys have questions, just like, yeah, reach. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
Well,
my owners, I mean,
What does
so,
that text look like? Like, let's go, get into the nitty gritty of it.
trying to think of a text that I have.
Hey, Joe.
So yeah, I just say, hey, is your home for sale at what, like at whatever address? Yeah. And they'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, awesome. Are you working with realtors at this point? And sometimes they'll be like, no. Sometimes they'll be like, yes. If they say no, then I'll just say, okay. And then I make sure I follow up with them like a week later. Because sometimes they get not patient at all. And they're like, okay, just kidding. We want to work with a realtor, which I actually have one that's like doing that right now to me, which I got to talk to Lance about. And then otherwise I'll be like, okay, awesome. I have a client that might be interested. Can I come walk through your place? And sometimes they want the client to come and sometimes they don't. And 90% of the time I just do it myself. So I'll go and walk through it with them and talk to them. And everyone, I don't know if you guys like fall into this at all, but every client that I have, they're like, love their house. Like they think their house is perfect. They think their house is worth this, whenever. So like, they'll be like, for example, this one, they have a horse barn and they're like, this is like the coolest thing. Like you're not going to find a horse barn like that. Like this is worth $250,000, which it's not worth that much. But I'm like, yeah, this horse barn's great. Like you're going to love it. Like just, they want to hear what you want to hear. And, so, I mean, just also compliment their house when you're walking through it. Oh, this is really neat. Or I haven't seen this trim that often, or looks like newer appliances. That's great. Like they want to hear that. And then I show them, like I'll take my phone out and I'll show them my Instagram and like TikToks and Facebook. And like, this is how I do to market your house. Like, and I tell them about my past experiences. Like I had this for sale by owner and I listed it for this. And guess what? I have 4 competing offers within a week on it. So tell them about your past experiences. I also say I'm newer to the industry. So I'm like, I'm new to the industry. Like this would mean a lot if I could list your house and put my face out and try to grow my industry. So that's also like this person, like they almost feel bad for you. They're like, oh wow, this girl's new. Like we got to help her out type of thing.
She
And
came over in leggings and.
yeah, like,
Hair up.
yeah.
She can't feed herself.
Yep. Sometimes I'll drive like my husband's
Yeah.
$1,000 Jeep there. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Look like I'm not. Yeah. No. Yeah. But seriously, and like some people are big dog lovers. I have 2 golden retrievers and they're my kids. So like I'll just tell them about my dog. I don't know. Just you have to read the client. I'm really, really good at reading people. That's also a big trait of mine, I feel like. And then also communication wise, like I'm freaky fast at texting back too. Like everyone will say, if you got my reviews, that communications, I communicate. I like probably should be looking at my phone to communicate people.
Am I, if I'm hearing you right, you have no phone to phone interaction with this person other than text until you show up their house?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Like it.
But I look them up on the assessor site, like creep them on Facebook. So I'm not like walking into my deathbed or anything. Yeah.
You're stalking them. I love it.
So if you are on Zillow and you scroll down, their phone number's right there. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool. We got-
So how much do you guys deal with, like, in the Des Moines market? I know in the past when I used to call for sale by owners, Keller Williams dry humps the crap out of them. So do you deal with that or what do you?
So to be honest with you, I have not like, yeah. I like feel like I haven't really had to compete. Like I haven't had a for sale by owner. Like they said, oh, this guy came in and I wasn't impressed by him. He was just in it for the business. Like I've had that, but I haven't had like, oh, I'm between you and another person. Like it's, and I don't know. I just, yeah.
I'm always be honest with you. I mean,
It's just one of those things that you have to expect it. And once again, I try to stand out even before I get through that door. I mean, just saying, you know, I more than likely have pre-approved buyers that would like to be your home. Let's make the connection. So from there, it's just value add. Like, what can you offer them that they don't have, trying to sell it on their own? So, I mean, yeah, that's just one of those things where you better come in prepared with your marketing plan, with your numbers. And I don't know if you guys heard, but I do a little bit of surveillance capitalism. Like if they have a public Facebook, I'll go on there and try to find things that we have in common or things that I can compliment them on or just whatever. You know, you really have to have them trust you. So
FSBOs are just a different mindset. So it's one of those where
they hate
realtors
realtors.
Yeah, they hate realtors. They hate realtors calling them. So
Yeah.
just knowing on how KW's been in the past, I don't know if they've kind of gone away or they're still doing that stuff, but how if you guys ran into that, how you battled that. If the texting thing is probably the better option because they call. I know they have their call.
Videos, send them a video directly to them. Like, hey, Bill and Brian or Bill and Susan.
No one wants to see a video.
Well, you never know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's better than a text.
When you look like that, you're.
Yeah, I don't look like that. Face doesn't get.
Yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Also,
I was just gonna add to her comment in your question, KW. They do have that there, and they have a pretty decent presence, but they're not as aggressive on the bottom tier, if you will. The agents that are actually producing for them, they're focused on other stuff like new construction, so they're not flooding them like they do here.
Okay.
I want to get back to what your original answer was with your newsletter. You kind of mentioned what was in it, community events, Bible verses and stuff. Who is it going out to and how often are you doing it?
I'm sending it out once a month. And I'm sending it out to everyone in my sphere, everyone that I've worked with in the past, people I'm targeting, people I've met at open houses, everyone at my kids' school, anyone on my kids' sports teams, like basically any email I can get, I'm putting it on there. And my interaction rate's pretty good. And then I think I've only had 3 people unsubscribe. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean, that kind of hurt my feelings, but that's okay. So
How many people are you sending out to, do you think?
I think I'm up to 800 now that I send it out to every month.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just trying, my goal is every month to just get more and more and keep adding it and just getting it as high as I can get for interaction.
And now all you guys mentioned, well, except for Dan, I think, all you mentioned social media as being a big part of your branding and awareness and stuff. What do you see on social media have the biggest return, the biggest response, the biggest feedback? Have you done something lately, or do you see yourself doing something that seems to be getting a good response? Like me personally, I don't get a lot of business off social media, and I don't post a lot on my personal page and stuff. But you guys all mentioned
Yeah.
that it's pretty fruitful for you.
I would say for me, I try to do a good mix of personal and business so that people don't get annoyed with all my business
Is
stuff.
it business page and personal? Is everything run out of your personal?
Well, right now I run everything out of my personal. I'm working on doing all the business page stuff and kind of separating them a little bit more. So that's something that is important to me that I've been working on the last couple months. And I'm revamping my website and all that stuff. But right now I have everything kind of running together. And I've talked to a lot of realtors and they said the majority of the time they're getting the business and stuff off their personal pages, not their business pages. So I try to focus a lot on my personal Facebook, my Instagram. And honestly, the most interaction is like when I post something of like my 2-year-old running around, like saying something, and then I get all these responses. Or if I post an interior picture of like a cool house, or like, this is what you can get for this amount of money, just something like that, that people can engage with.
I have another question. Because I'm like been in the business as much as you guys, right? As long as you all. And I'm like, y'all are killing it, you know? And so I do the Facebook stuff too. And I had a business page and a personal page. And I felt like it was like too much. It was too much to keep up with. So would you, I don't know if you guys have went down. I heard you say that you haven't, but I don't know if you guys have went down there. I've actually managing those 2 different, especially Facebook. My Facebook is hooked up to my Instagram. I'm just now getting into LinkedIn and TikTok. But what would you recommend with that? Should I keep it on that one page, or should I get a business page? Like, does that help? If not,
I guess so. I have both, and I don't like to bombard my personal with like, I'm a realtor. Like, look at these houses. I like to travel a lot too. So I post stuff on that, but every once in a while, like my new listings, I'll post on my personal, like I'll just share it, from my business page. But another thing too, like social media, I guess I don't get tons of leads from social media. It's usually the leads that I get are from like my sphere. So I got 2, I'm from Keokuk, Iowa, so Southeast Iowa. And I had 2 people this week from Keokuk, Iowa reach out to me because they saw I'm a realtor, like on my personal Facebook page. I mean, I haven't talked to them since high school. And so yeah, and I guess people, like when I go and meet that client or like meet that for sale by owner or meet that cold lead, they'll like creep me on social media and they just want to see like, okay, she's actually doing stuff. Like she actually knows what she's talking about. Like she sells homes, she lists home and stuff like that. So I guess it's more brand awareness, I would say. And like I was a marketing coordinator for the company before I became a realtor. And that was a lot of brand awareness. Like no one's going to go and like find a Fusion Architects and go in there and I don't know. But like it's brand awareness to show like you're actually doing something, you know what you're talking about. Like this girl seems fun or something like that. I mean, it's not, I'm not getting like cold leads coming in there. Hey, saw you're a realtor. I'm looking. I haven't got that yet. But yeah. And Facebook Marketplace, post all your listings there. I just had a listing in Urbana, my hometown, and I had over 55 messages on that. It was insane. And they, like a lot of them friend me or I friended them, and hopefully they'll be potential buyers or sellers here soon. So.
And then another piece to that question, because I know I remember for you, when you post your stuff like about your 2-year-old or whatever, and people, do you like have a go-to response that you reply? Because like I get a lot of interaction right on my Facebook, and I'm like hearting everything. Because I'm like, I can't respond to all these people. This is like 45, I can't respond to every person. So do you like actually take the time to go through and like respond to everybody or inbox? Are there certain people? Like how do you figure out through those comments who to interact with?
Yeah, if it's direct messenger on Instagram or Facebook, I respond right away or as fast as I can just to create that dialogue and have those conversations because I found that if you wait to respond, then they're not responding back. But if I respond as soon as they send me a message, then they're responding, then we're starting that conversation. And then it usually ends up talking about something that we didn't even start talking about anyways. But as far as like when I post something on Facebook and, you know, get like 50 or 70 comments or whatever, that kind of overwhelms me. I don't have time to just sit there and answer all of that. So I'll, over the next couple of days, I'll go back in and I'll respond to each of them. And then, cause I just don't want it to look so generic, like, oh, heart, 100 people, like all the same thing. Like I want to be able to respond to someone and feel genuine, you know? So I just kind of take my time with it.
Something important is to know your audience. I mean, everybody has 5 to 7 realtor friends. So you really don't need to over inundate your profile with videos and stuff like that. So for example, Facebook, I have so many realtors on there. So it's just more like she said, brand awareness is huge. I mean, on Instagram, I do a lot of very engaging posts, like reels, quizzes, like guess the price on this house, walkthroughs, just kind of letting them know and reminding them that you do what you do on a regular basis. And I've been able to get a lot of leads from Instagram. I've been able to get a lot of referrals too, because I'm from the Chicago area. So people that inquire with me and they're like, hey, I would love for you to help me find a house. I'm like, unfortunately, I'm not in your area, but I have, you know, a couple realtor friends that are from that area that I've been able to get that mailbox money on. So there's just so many avenues to real estate where you can, you know, make money on.
Go ahead. Do you have anything? You don't do social media at all, do
I
you?
do a little bit.
Do you a little bit? Do you have some success with it? As far as people reaching out and saying, hey, Dan, I could.
Yeah, but I think I toe the line of like knowing your audience, because I wouldn't want to do something that's inconsistent with what my audience knows me by. So like if I do some like video that's like high production, like whatever, I'm gonna be hanging out with my friends and be like, what the hell was that? Because that's not who I am. Like that's not not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not how I built my business. Is much more like personal and relational and like a bit more of like a friendship sort of like tie. I also like toe the line with that. So knowing your audience, but also like self-awareness, because am I being self-aware enough to know if this thing is working or not? Because I think sometimes like people think, I don't know, this is just my thought. Like sometimes people think they're killing it at social media and it's like, we're not really liking what you're putting out here. But they think they're loving it. They think this is great. And some of that, to be fair, it's the audience. Like, well, you know, that's, to be fair, it's like, well, maybe, yeah, that's not for you. This is for my audience. So again, it's why you have to really know your audience, but you also have to like, sometimes have thick skin and be like, yeah, it's not that you're not being active on social media. It's just that nobody wants to engage with what you're putting out there. And so that's just tough to know, like, so how do I, so for me, like what I've been starting to do, don't steal this because I think this is a great idea. But this is just very me. Like I'm going to put a post out today. I've been doing like polls on my stories. They have nothing to do with real estate. So today because I've been thinking about this and I think it's true that like talk text Siri has gotten worse over time. So I'm going to put a poll out there and say, do you guys think talk text has gotten worse? Maybe it's not, but I talk text a lot as I'm driving. And it'll just be like, yes, no. Or did Chris Stapleton at the Super Bowl make you cry during the national anthem? Yes, no. For me, I'm looking for engagement. It's not high production. It's not even quality like photos. For me, like that's consistent with how I would talk to my friends. Because if I was hanging out with them, I'd be like, dude, did you guys cry during the Super Bowl a little bit? So I'm like, I just like, what would I do in a conversation? I'll just post like that. And my audience would be like, yeah, that's how he talks.
So they know it's coming from you and it's authentic.
Yeah,
That way.
because so much of my business is really like so friendly that I don't really like have like revolution. I don't like try to have like social media ideas that are like outside of the box because I don't really have to. I just need to engage with my friends the best I can.
Yeah, I think that's a good point especially when you're marketing to your friends in your sphere that know you, is when you send them something is to make sure that there's some of your personality on it that they can identify with and say, oh, that's from him or her. I know them. That's exactly what they would say, versus something that's canned or maybe routine that might have been some kind of canned marketing.
That's
Statement.
business.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a good point.
You gotta be yourself.
Right. That's a good point. Okay. you guys see, no, market's changing, obviously, we've had such a good run, and then things got crazy with COVID for everybody. Now we're entering into a different period of the market that you guys probably haven't been around to see a lot of different trends. And is there anything that is coming up that you, as far as trends goes in the market changing, that you guys see yourself adapting to, evolving to, maybe even a little fearful of? Are you just plug away like always?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how to answer that. I think you just kind of have to roll with the punches, and it kind of is what it is. And I've tried to the best I can, like control what I can control. And the reality is, like, the market changing, like, shouldn't really change the practices that I think are hopefully like timeless. So I've tried in these markets to like create habits that are not seasonal, I guess, like things that you build your business on that works for a period of time, but it's got a little bit of an expiration date on it. So, I mean, something that I've done is I now have an office that I go into, which has been really good. Like, and I've met with some of you, like, so something that I've been doing, ironically, as I'm sitting up here telling you stuff that you already know, is I've been trying to get together with some of you, and some of you I've met with and got drinks, and I just ask you questions like, how do you do this? How do you do it every year? So I think, like, we have to be humble enough to know that we don't know everything. And I guess I should speak for myself, and I know that. It's very obvious. My wife really knows that. So just like always having this curiosity, because curiosity comes from a place of humility, because by definition, it's something that you're exploring that you don't know, and you're trying to figure out something about it from somebody else. So for me, just like rubbing shoulders with people who like have done it, and like shutting up and asking questions. And we love to talk. We love getting the microphone. Us realtors, maybe not. I don't know. But we, like just pausing and not thinking about yourself, not thinking about a response where you're going to try to like shape this into letting them know something about your business that you really want them to know. If you kind of know, if you're kind of tracking with me, like, but truly just like, I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. I'm asking you for coffee or a drink. Can you tell me about how you kill it every single year? And truly come from that place. And that's what I'm trying to be intentional, like, with, is just learning.
And kind of adding to what he said, we now have the time to have those conversations, right? When I started, it was like right at the beginning of COVID, and all of a sudden it became the most chaotic market you could have ever imagined. So when that happened, I no longer had time to work on my systems or develop my systems or improve my systems or go to client events, or I was just so busy being busy that now I can actually focus on the networking side of things and the development side of things. So I think no matter what, you can always be working on your business. No matter what, you could always be networking and sitting down and having coffee and whatnot. So regardless of what happens with the market, I mean, it's what goes up is bound to come down, and what goes down is bound to go up. So it's going to happen. There's things outside of our control, and we just have to make sure we're educated, but not stress too much about those factors. If that makes sense.
I don't know if I have anything to add to that.
You have anything?
No, not specifically. I was just gonna tag on with what Dan said about meeting with other people. Like, one of the things that I feel like has really, really helped me is I found mentors early on that I really latched onto. Like Nicole Van Walbeek actually recruited me over here. Her and my husband went to high school together. And so I don't even know how she found out I was interested in getting my real estate license, but I went and met with her, had coffee. And then when I met with her, she actually brought Amber Salmon with her. And so those were two people that I really latched onto right away. And Amber and I really connected, and she was just a wealth of knowledge, and she was willing to share a lot of stuff with me. And I still call her. My joke with her now, every time I call her, is, you're a broker now, so you have to answer all my questions. So I still call her with questions. So she was someone that has been really instrumental with me. And then Matt and Shane also, I've met with them a lot, and I've asked them a lot of questions, Lance. So don't be scared to ask questions, and find somebody that you connect to, which is what I did. And I just kind of, I don't want to say latched on, but I just called them whenever I didn't know something, or I asked questions. And then recently, I started asking Jill Budin a lot of questions. Like, she's a wealth of knowledge, and she's so kind. And she always answers my phone calls and responds to me. So just find somebody that is smarter than you and knows more than you, and ask a bunch of questions. And like Dan said, just listen and take a lot of notes.
All right, we're getting close to the end of time, but I want to open it up to the audience. Is there anything that they would like, you guys would like to? Yes.
Okay, I had a question about like obtaining email addresses. So at an open house, that's gonna be super easy to get if they sign in, but aside from that, like, you know, parents of your kids with friends and stuff, what's like a natural way to approach that?
Oh, that one's super easy. So whenever the coaches send out emails to all the parents, all the email addresses are on them, all of them.
I see that, but I do feel that line of like, oh, it kind of feels icky.
No one's unsubscribed to them yet. So that's how I get all the email addresses. When the school sends a bunch of shit out, they send out so many emails. I copy all of them. I put them in my constant contact. That's how I get everyone around town. And then sometimes I'll run stuff like on social media, like giveaways and stuff like that for charcuterie boards. Put it in like the town newsletters or hang it up. I get people that respond to that too. So that's how I get a lot of people that I don't know their emails.
I also think it's putting some content that you're sending to somebody that you feel has value, so they will feel has value. It just can't be a bunch of words and stuff, you know. It's got to be something that has some kind of personal draw, right? You know, people are identifying with the Bible verse. People are probably identifying with some of the community events. People, you know, there's a lot there that someone might say, hey, I might not read this every month, but I want to keep it here in case I do. In case there is an event I want to, you know, refer back to or something. What are you saying? Hi, anybody else?
In your newsletter, do you ever talk about people in the community that you would receive help?
Like, what do you mean?
Like you're speaking of Van Meter specific newsletter, did I hear?
No, I don't do just Van Meter stuff. I try to put Van Meter stuff in there when I can, when there's stuff going on,
Do you have,
because
like, section like, I help so-and-so sell their home.
Like a highlight.
oh, yeah, no, I actually don't do that because I try to keep all my clients' stuff super confidential. It's a really small town, so I don't ever tell anyone the names of clients I'm working with. I don't ever post on closing days, like pictures of them holding a sold by Lindsay sign, nothing like that, because our town's so small. And I found that people really respect that.
Have you ever found that it's like, sometimes we have crazy stories of like, I can't believe everything we've overcome. Did you ever feel the urge to like share like everything we were able to do to help somebody or in that newsletter, or has it never really come to life?
No, I guess I've never really done that. I feel like I share a lot of personal stuff about me, my family. Like I've struggled with anxiety really bad for 5 years. I got debilitating anxiety basically out of nowhere 5 years ago, and basically couldn't leave my house, couldn't do anything. My world just kind of collapsed on me. And so that's something that I've been dealing with for 5 years and having to figure out how to deal with that and all these things and stuff. And so I try to relate to people in that way. And I think that I can relate to a lot of people that way and what they're going through, what they've gone through. And so I always try to put stuff like that in my newsletter, just like calming, peaceful things, or how to calm your environment or calm your mind down, or I don't know. So I try to connect with people that way.
Jason.
I guess not so much of a question as like observance with gratitude, that it sounds like if you pick something and do it consistently, regardless of what it is, lots of open houses, no open houses, and you care about the people you're interacting with, it all kind of works, right?
I agree. And consistency of it all, the discipline of it all. I think you have to have more than,
About how you do
you
it.
might have one thing that works really well for you, but you should probably have multiple things that you're doing and trying. And that sounds like that's evident in all four of you guys, that you're trying different things. You're having success in different areas. Maybe one, if you're for sale by owners, is your biggest lead driving source, but you're certainly doing other things with opens and social media and working your sphere and things like.
And then the more you
Like
grow,
that.
the higher your capability goes. So automation's a big thing. I mean, I've been able to automate pretty much all my follow-up process to the point where it is organic. It seems organic at least. I send gifts. Once again, I'm big on videos. I'm big on voice memos. Just something outside of just a regular contextual message, just to be able to try to stand out a little bit. And that's all automated in my CRM. So I don't have to touch those. I mean, it'll follow up for 2 years, you know, and I don't have to touch it.
These cold leads are these people that you've actually, everybody, all your whole sphere, people you've sold houses to, people you haven't yet hoped to someday. Or are these just
Hot,
follow-up
warm, cold.
leads?
Hot, warm, cold, and I have like over 20 different campaigns
Gotcha.
specifically
Depending
for
on where you
different
fall
reasons.
into.
Yep.
Okay.
They're all different, like they all have gifts. And it's just, they're interactive. Like if I got them, I probably would laugh, to be honest with you, because if you can make a client laugh, the chances of them responding. is probably
Right.
gonna go up.
Right. Right. Well, awesome. Yeah.
If you want to team. I would say, I'm curious what everyone's.
Oh, sure.
I think
You are and everyone else is.
Yeah. So I'm not on a team, and something to add too. So I was on a team at first, for like 4 months, and then I decided to go off on my own. But one thing I'll add, and a lot of people probably are like, we don't have time for that type of stuff. But I try to get in front of like my cold lead. I need to be better at being like, I'm only going to see if you're pre-approved, but there's some people that they don't even know what a pre-approval is. They don't even know where to start. Cause a lot of my buyers are first time home buyers. So I like make the appointment. I show them just one house. I'm not going to go show you 5 houses if you're not pre-approved. Show them one house that they send me, talk to them through about the process and stuff like that. And then some of them are just like, well, we don't know. And I'm like, well, you have to be pre-approved because there's a lot of listing agents that won't even let you like through your homes if you're not pre-approved type of thing. But yeah, I mean, probably 40% of my people are not pre-approved when I see them, but I talk to them, I tell them about the process, and they get pre-approved and they're my leads. So.
All right. Before we wrap it up, and Lance is going to come up here and do a quick thing for us. First of all, thanks for taking your time, everybody. Give him a round of applause. You'll see that, I don't think Jason said this, consistency and discipline always win no matter what you're doing, as long as you're doing something. But the common denominator between all of you, I think, is in the way we've tried to train every single one of our agents here, is they do have pillars of business that they're working. You know, each one of them mentioned at least 4, and I bet if we dug in deeper, there's probably 1 or 2 more. If you know, whether it's social media for sell by owners, newsletters, what I would call geographically farming an area, would kind of fall underneath that type of pillar. You're all working sphere people that are close to you. Some doing online leads. These are all pillars. Each and every single one of you should know what pillars you're working, and have a system for each one of those pillars like these 4 do. Again, thank you for sharing. We're proud of every single one of you. We're so thankful you guys are here. You make us better. Thank you. Lane, thank you.
Yeah, I know, sorry. I was, last night was hard on me. No, we had a great time together last night, having dinner and talking who was there, and we got to share a lot of things. The things that I noticed in spending time with these 4 is that, one, they're not scared of people. Okay, the idea that's like, oh my God, I might be embarrassed. Oh my God, I might say the wrong thing and stuff. That's all, but they overcome that and go anyway. Talk about anxiety. Oh my God, that is such a huge thing to get through. But the idea is that all 4 of these people go every day. One of the things that Dan brought up last night is that surprisingly, if you actually show up and work as a real estate agent, you gain success. I mean, it's a unique proposition, but most of us need to actually go to work every day. We have the opportunity to, I'm going to hang around the house and get on the computer and check my Facebook and stuff like that. But are you working? So, I mean, I told Dan last night, I was like, I used to ask myself, what would happen if I actually worked 40 hours a week? People do that. They actually work 40 hours a week at their job. We all should maybe give that a whirl. So anyway, I want to thank these 4. They're wonderful. They consistently do the things that helps make business for them. And as you can see, they're all different in their approach, in their pillar, in the way they interact with people. But the one thing they do have is consistency. And that, as Michelle reminded me, In January, I said, that's my word of the year, because this year specifically, you need consistency. Okay, so thank you guys for all that. That's wonderful. I want to give a little bit of an update. If you guys want to hang, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. I'm just gonna give a quick update on my, on the, because a lot of you were nice enough to donate to RPAC and have money for some of the political action, that kind of stuff, sorry. So I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on some things, because it's always like, what's our money going? Thank you guys so much. Give them another round of applause. So with that, I wanted to give a couple of things. One, everybody here has been in this thing. It's like, you know, HOAs, and they're charging $350 to get a signature, the bill's paid, all that stuff. So that bill is in, and it's in both the Senate and the House right now to work on how that's going to come together, how there's going to be some limits. There'll be both things put on the HOAs, and then also some limits put on about what they can do and what they can charge. The other thing, some of you have heard about this, it's called the homeowner benefit agreement. And it's where they go up front, usually to people who are, I don't know, if you, like, they can use the money, that kind of thing. So they'll offer to give them like $3,000, and then they sign off on a 40-year agreement to list their property. If they ever sell in the next 40 years, then the people have to do it with that company or pay a large fee. So that's going in. It's not here in Iowa yet. We're the second state to really work at doing that and get that out of there, but we're getting that so we don't have that issue here. The other thing, we've all heard about the slip and fall thing that Iowa Realty got sued for. And it's called the broker liability bill. It is also in both the House and the Senate. It has gotten through committee and is going into debate. Lots of support there from all sides of the aisle. They don't want us to be liable for when you have an open house or you list a property. We want to make sure that you're not taking on liability, excessive liability for doing those things. So just a quick speak to that is that the only way you can take liability on, especially if this bill gets passed and the listing agreement that we just created has wording in there to release liability as well. The thing you have to understand, it's done like a lot of builders and stuff, is that you end up going out and shoveling the sidewalk or cleaning up on the driveway and that kind of thing. When you do that, you gain liability. It's part of our business. I get it. But if you are going to do it spectacularly. Do it the right way. Make sure you don't take shortcuts. Make sure you do it as good as it can possibly be done, because you will be held accountable for your performance in that act that you just did. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So with that, I just want to thank you for your RPAC donations. If you haven't made it, you still can. So please do. I'll probably call you anyway. So with that, I know from oh, you're going to give that to he has blankets wherever our speakers went. Who's got who's got a little gift for each of you? Yes, sir.
I did want to say something. This was all because I got a hold and hang out with Emma.
Oh.
I saw these extra blankets. And so I just want to add to that. We love little kids here. So, you know, Concepts is a family, not just of agents, right, but of kids. And so when we have kids come and hang out, one day maybe be agents with us, right? Matt, Jane, and Lance, that's awesome. So, you know, and I love call me Uncle Who or Grandpa Who or whatever. Because I took Emma back to hang out for a little
Just
bit.
calling Mom.
Blankets. Yeah, Jamie and the team, we've had these blankets for a little bit, right? I wish we had enough for everybody. I am so sorry, guys. Yeah, I wish we
Yeah.
had enough, but these were what we had left.
Okay, I was just told that,
So where's that? And
I was just told that Alexis had to go upstairs because she has 2 offers to work on. So it gives you an idea how that world's working. So, yeah, so that's good. So anyway, I want to tell all of you how much we appreciate you, how much we thank you, how important it is. I'm trying, I can't get any louder. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming. Thanks for all your support. We love you.